Hello everyone and welcome to round 5 of the Reddit League Championships that I'm taking part in here during the shutdown. We're headed to Bahrain this time, a nice night race out in the desert. Fairly technical track, a lot of interesting braking zones throughout it. It's not your typical shoot down a straight and break into a chicane. Turn 1 is almost certainly going to be an interesting event at the start of this race, so hopefully this week we can avoid some of the messes and have a good run through here. So we're going to go ahead and pick out the balanced tire set because the amount of tire degradation around this track can lean to either a two-stopper if you're starting on the softs, or you have the potential to one-stop if you're starting on the mediums. So strategy-wise, I'm not the best at this track, so I'm going to see if I can put myself into the top 10. I'll just live with the two-stop on the softs, but if I'm outside the top 10, or if I'm able to qualify inside the top 10 on the medium tires, then we'll go ahead and start on those, and we'll see what we can make happen throughout it. So I'm preferring a one-stop on this strategy here, but we'll see what we have to do. If we get the softs, it's almost impossible to one-stop it. So as is tradition, I'm going to drop in real quick, grab my setup loaded that I'm going to do a quick little outlap, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the setup after that. So we'll take some fuel out of the car here, and let's get out and see if we can do a pretty solid flying lap here. Looks like everybody's rushing out of the pits now. Woo! Unsafe release, huh? We're gonna have to find a way to open up some space. Everybody kind of hustling out. Give a little bit of a gap because there is a section on sector 2 of this track that is very aero dependent, so we don't want to be caught in dirty air dealing with that. But interesting braking zones, a bumpy track. When you get offline, there's definitely a lot of bumps you kind of have to contend with. Sector 1 here, bit of aero limit through these S's. Where is... Alright, what are you people doing? I'm just going to push on ahead. There's a little bit of a gap in front. Here's turns 9 and 10, which is probably one of the toughest braking zones on the track. You're turning and braking for a long way into a very tight little hairpin at the back there. Shoot down this little short chute, and then we'll get into the back part of Sector 2 that I'll show you. As you come up this hill, you got this left-right combo that is very aero-dependent. Do not touch that inside curb of turn 12 there. That is bad news. You can dive all the way. Another interesting turning braking zone here. And then down the back-to-back long straight. So here we go. Let's get the engine turned up, see if we can turn in a good lap. Short shift aplenty around here. So out the double right-hander, open that DRS as we come down the long start-finish straight. Keep climbing up through the gears. We're going to spot kind of the front of this braking curve. And dive all the way in first gear around that tight hairpin, then kind of short shift our way through the gears to try and pick up as much speed. We can really ride that right curve coming out of turn 3. Now we're going to look for a little access road, and that's kind of our braking point there. Get close to the apex. If you get a little outside the apex there off that curb, it's very bumpy and you'll just kind of skitter out wide. Now we're going to try and push it through here. Down into the hairpin, grab an early gear to limit the wheel spin. Climb up this hill, swing nice and wide, dive in, get on the brakes. Try and manage that lockup. Gone a little bit too deep with the lockup, but now we're down this short little back straight here. The last of 3 DRS zones. Now we're going to find kind of the 75 mark, dive in, short shift up, try and get on the throttle as early as we can while we're turning left there. Swing it out wide, almost go off the track to really open that corner up. Not really much of a braking point to really focus on for that corner there. You kind of have to just, hope and pray that you got it. But then it's long braking zones here. 1, 2, 3, 4 gears down, dive it in. A little bit of understeer. We've got a tiny bit wide, so that's going to cost us a little bit of time coming out of that corner. Open that DRS and we'll get across the line here. 29.4 is not great, but let's turn everything down so we don't run out of gas on the way back in. And we'll pop into the pits and I'll show you the wow, not 27.9. That's a pretty quick time. I've gotten down into the I think I've gotten down to like 28.4 in time trial. I might have gotten into the 27s, but that's quick. That's real quick. I think the best I've done in any like of the practice qualifying sessions leading up to this has been like a 28.5 or so. So definitely some ground to make. Unfortunately, I just couldn't really put the laps together. But yeah, we should be able to go into the at least into the 28s. I'm hoping on the soft tire. This is a time that we might be able to challenge with the medium tire. I think I can get into the 29.1s on a medium tire. So yeah, you see we've already fallen all the way back down to 10th on the time. So we're about a second and a half, about a second and a half off of the best lap time. So time to bring the car into the pits here safely without picking up a penalty. And here we go. We'll get pulled in, we'll get pushed back into the garage, and we'll take a look and see what other times everybody else is doing. And we'll take a quick look at our setup, and I'll kind of explain what I've done here. Now that you've got a bit of an idea of what the track lays out like, what kind of needs are required around it, and just kind of what the necessary adjustments to be made to the car are, primarily in the aero development. You kind of play around with the suspension a little bit less track to track. You kind of want for speed kind of the same things. But here we are. Let's open up our car setup. So aero, we're very rear focused. There's so many traction zones that are turning while on your way out that it's really important to kind of keep the rear end planted. It creates a little bit more of an understeery car than I typically like. 1:29.4. Thanks, Jeff. Creates one that's a little more understeery than I typically like, but it's kind of helped with the consistency around this track. You're like a lot less likely to spin coming out of a lot of corners. And you can basically push into high-speed corners and not worry about the back end stepping out. You'll just have to manage your understeer, and that, at least there, you're not going to lose the car entirely. Transmission-wise, we're fairly locked on the off-throttle adjustments again, kind of like we were in Austria.
We're 14th in the speed trap, 200.3 miles per hour.
Because just like Austria, there's some decent mid to high-speed exits that you can kind of give it that little extra boost of throttle to help rotate the car. And then the on-throttle adjustment of 65% is pretty much bog standard in the middle there that I usually run. I might turn it down to try and save the rear tires a little bit. Suspension geometry, as we do, we've turned up the front and rear camber a little bit, turned down the rear camber a little less than we did in the front camber, so it's not quite as aggressively turned up. That just kind of helps the back end sit a little bit more in the traction zones. It's not quite as leaned into, but the front camber really helps us with those prolonged corners. We've straightened out the front and rear toe quite a bit to help us deal with these long straights and really kind of keep the tire temperatures down and really keep our straight line speed up. Suspension wise, we're running a fairly soft setup, 3 and 3. I could have gone lower, but
exit is more important than corner entry. Slow in, fast out, smooth on the power.
Thank you for telling me that, Jeff. But yeah, so I've kept the front suspension not super soft. It is fairly soft because of how bumpy it is. But there's a lot of high-speed transitions, right to left, left to right. We're really switching that, and I wanted to be able the car to not, throw too hard side to side. Front anti-roll bar is turned up quite a bit to really help us nose into a lot of these cornering sections. And then the ride height, running a little bit of rake as normal. Dropped it down from the normal, from the base 6.6, but the front end's a little lower. That'll help us out with some of the understeer. Brake pressure at 83% as normal. Brake bias, we're typically going to run between 56 and 58% over the course of this race. It's interesting. It's one that I'm probably going to play around with over the course of the race, because obviously,
17th in the speed trap, 200.3 miles per hour.
Thanks. Okay, thanks, Jeff. Because obviously you're hard on the brakes into turns 1 and the last turn, but there's also these like flowing kind of braking while cornering turns. So I'll be turning up the brake bias for those straight line braking zones and turning it down to more balanced for those more rear requiring turns. Tire wise, we've turned up the front pressures a little bit to help manage those temperatures. Keep those under control. I know a lot of other guys in the practice sessions were complaining about tire temperatures. I haven't really had that issue thus far. I think it might be because I've turned that front pressure up. That usually helps you dissipate the tire temperatures a little better. Rear tire pressures are down a little bit as normal, just to help us out with those traction zones. So that's kind of what we've done car setup wise. So let's go ahead and get out, see if we can improve on our lap. We'll see where we're at. See where we're at as we pull out compared to everybody else, and see if we can't move ourselves up the grid a little bit more. All right, so we find ourselves sitting P11 at the moment. So we're outside the top 10. We'll let that guy go through. Don't want to mess up his flying lap. Tough pit entry. Very tight pit entry or exit on this track. Be very careful coming out. And especially since you're all the way on the right-hand side of the track, and then you have to make a very sharp right-hand hairpin as turn 1. You really just like got to treat it like the hairpin at Monaco, where you just turn as much wheel lock as you can and hope for the best. Wow. Okay, that was interesting.
Damage to your wing. Damage to your wing. Suggest we box to change it.
Well, there goes this set of tires. Interesting. I was barely on throttle and I totally just put the car around. Huh. That was weird. Maybe because maybe I was putting in a throttle input I was used to, but I normally short shift pretty aggressively through that corner. Exiting that corner, so maybe I was just getting a little more torque than I was used to, and that caused some wheel spin. But that's pretty slow for a spin to have happened there. It wasn't going that fast. Oh well. Let's box, get a new front wing. I guess actually that's going to put us down to basically only one flying lap in. So I don't think we'll improve. I don't think we're going to be quick enough to make it on the mediums. So we're just going to throw on soft tires, go out for that last set on the softs. We'll save that medium tire. Or, I think I can go faster on the medium, and I kind of want to keep a set of softs fresh. Because if I use another set of softs now, it'll be my last set of softs, because I've done damage to these ones with that spin. Oh, it might take them a couple minutes to fix my wing, though. Let's see what the repair time. Oh, no repair time. Okay.
Our best lap so far is a 1 minute 29.4.
Yeah, we'll go out on these mediums. We'll see if we can improve. I think I can get to 29.1s. That would just put me in the top 10. Yeah, we'll go mediums. If I go any faster, I'm going to end up in the top 10 and have to start on softs. Wow, hard tires.
We're 18th in the speed trap, 200.3 miles per hour.
Interesting choice. Oh, he's on mediums. I was going to say hard tires. Alright, let's go back to the timing screen here. Just gonna chill for a second. You know what, let's do this. Let's put in just a little bit of extra fuel. Put in 5 laps, and we'll go for 2 flying laps. Let's see if we can get 2 flying laps in on these mediums. My hopes are not particularly high. It's like I said, I've been kind of struggling around this track. Alright, let's see if we... Hopefully we get some clear air. Hopefully I don't... Hopefully I don't bin it again. I'll try and pay attention more to my... Pay more attention to my short shifting and my throttle inputs here. I was kind of a little unfocused there. Are we going to get 2 laps in? It's going to be pretty close. I mean, we'll definitely get 1 in, but I don't know if we'll get 2. Well, guess we're just going to have to find out. Unfortunately, that means I'm not quite, can't really let Racer get too far out in front of me. And if we're quicker than him, we're probably going to catch him up in a lap or 2. So, let's see. Hopefully we don't end up in dirty air land. Let's get into the corner. Get everything turned up to where it should be. Let's see if we can put in a better lap time. We're sitting just outside the top 10. Alright. Racer's diving into the pit lane, so we've got, as it stands right now, miles of clear track in front of us. It's like just Red Bull's pitting out, but we're going to be well clear of him. We were better into the braking zone, but not as good on the exit. A little tentative, trying to make sure I didn't spin the rear tires up coming out of that corner. Big lock up into that zone. That's going to cost us a lot of time. Well, not a faster lap. We're going to be close to almost a 30-second lap, or a minute 30 here. A little better on the brakes in there, but a little slower on the exit again. We are going to get that second flying lap in, though. That's good. Let's see if we can improve. Okay, we're slightly green by like 100th of a second. That's where the softs kind of benefit, as they give you a little more traction out of those corners. Okay, can we have a good run through turn 10 here? Decent. Again, just losing out on that soft tire traction. A little wide. Wasn't able to get the throttle down as early as I wanted to. That's gonna, you see, that cost us like 2 full tenths there. Yeah, that's going to cost us big coming through that. Just getting a little wide coming out of turn 11 there. Having to manage the curbing and avoid that. We were a little better on the exit here. We're going to be within 0.2 of our best time, but not quite enough to move us up. P13, so we're starting way down the grid. Probably could have gone faster on some softs, but we're going to have at least a decent strategy pick here. Hey, level 19 online there. Congrats to us. Marco on top. Man, 27, too. 20. Okay, so two guys went into the 27s. Those are quick times. Boomtech on the mediums. We qualified on softs, but we're going to be, since we're outside the top 10, we're going to have tire choice. So we're going to go ahead and we saved a set of softs for, you know, a late switch if we want to get off the hard tire at the end of the race and go on to a soft to, you know, try and go for fast slap or something if we're in that position. But we are going to start, I would say, start on the mediums. Yeah, I think start on the mediums. Go medium to hard. Try in one stop. It's going to save us a good 25 seconds of pit stop time. So we just need to be within
a... cars on track today. Hard braking into the first corner. Hard on the brakes.
Just have to be like within a second of pace of the cars around us. All right, so that's the one stopper. 64% to there. Nice. All right, so should be able to do it here. So let's get onto the grid. Oh, I forgot to underfuel the car. Oops, that's a mistake. We're going to be carrying a lot of extra weight. Let's wait for everybody to start moving in front of us. Head out on our formation map.
Right, let's get the car up to temperature on this lap. We're learning the gears, so go through them all if you can.
Easy there, Turbo. So I guess since we've accidentally overfueled the car, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it in the rich mix a lot early on. Try and pick up some early pace. Try and get the weight down as quick as possible. Because the more we can burn the weight off, the better that's going to help our tires out. Now, unfortunately, we are going to turn it down, I think, for any traction zones, just because running in that higher mix is going to hurt your tires because of the amount of extra power you're putting in. And we don't want to burn these tires up too much. We should have everything pretty well up to temperature, yeah. Turn the engine back to standard for the moment. All right, let's get on to the grid here and let's see what we can make happen. So we do our final burnout. All right, in the practice race, I had a pretty dismal start, and got absolutely swallowed up. So hopefully that doesn't happen to me this time. Deep breath.
Safety car deployed. The safety car has been deployed. Watch your delta. Make sure you keep it positive as we catch the pack.
Well, that was an absolute mess as we kind of backed our way into turn one. A lot of wheel spin up, looks like, from the guys up front. Certainly got some wing damage on people in front of us. No doubt about that. But interesting happenings there. Well, we've managed to gain. Did we gain a position? Yeah, I think we gained a position. We kind of let some of the guys that were behind us through just because, well, I was erring on the side of caution, especially with everything checking up in front of me, whereas some other people were a little more aggressive into those areas. Now, normally I would turn down the lean mix and try and save fuel during a safety car period, but since I'm, 4 laps over target essentially, I'm going to try and not do that because that's definitely going to affect the balance of the car at the moment. So, okay, K3's in. AWD, my teammate has died. He's in the pits. And so we are up in 10th at the moment behind Onslaught here.
Right, pick up the pace a touch, please. We need to close to within 10 car lengths of the car ahead.
Alright, so we're going to leave everything else as is. We're just going to keep our tire temperature screen up because that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. We need to keep the tires up to temperature as much as possible here. Unfortunately, this sector is so slow. I'm losing so much heat out of the tire. When they get cold, it's hard to switch them back on again, essentially. Just try and, where we can, lean into them, get the temperatures up. Falling down to like the 82 Celsius mark on the core temperatures, which if you're looking at the tire temperature displays, for each tire working top down, you've got the core temperature of the tire, then the surface temperature of the tire, and then the brake temp. So those are the 3 things you got to kind of keep an eye on. Really, that you can get away with the surface temperatures dropping. Really, you want to keep that core temperature on the medium tires here between, realistically, you want them between 85 and 90-ish. That back tire is getting a little cold, that right rear. So we're going to try and light up the rears from time to time to try and put some heat into them. And then when's the safety car in? Well, this definitely helps out the people that started on softs and we're going to try and do a one-stopper. Because they're essentially getting free laps right now where they don't have to go anywhere. And they're not taking life out of those tires. We saw in the in the pre-race, the strategy display, I had the option to go for the one stop because I had an absolutely fresh set, but they really would have fallen off of a cliff at the tail end of the race, or I mean tail end of the stint, and that would have been really sketchy trying to deal with that. And I'm just not trying to have that happen. Alright, come on, Jeff. Tell me the safety car's in this lap. Oh, we still haven't caught up to the back of the train yet. Okay, in this lap.
Safety car is in this lap. Safety car in this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember, there is no overtaking until the timing line. Stay in position until the green flags.
Alright, here we go. Green flag, let's turn the engine up.
Green flag, we're racing again.
I'm going to ease out. This is going to be a mess into T1 here. Yep. A lot more cars making contact with each other. Let's just settle it down a little bit, boys. Onslaught kind of squeezing me off the outside here. Alright. Boki was having a look, but we managed to fend him off for the moment.
And 3 laps over target on fuel. Let's start burning it off, please.
Yep, I'm aware, Jeff. So we're going to want to start picking our way through some of this pack as much as possible. Let's see if we can set up a onslaught for the next big long straight. He's gone wide. Ooh. Oh, you do not come on the track like that. You are so lucky you were ghosted.
Safety car, reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta.
This race
Drop your speed,
is
our
a
delta is
disaster
too low
so
and
far.
we'll risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
Jeez, don't stomp on the brakes directly in front of me there. Well, there's the pit window for a lot of the soft runners, so unfortunately they're going to get a big benefit here. That's going to kind of neutralize some of our one-stop strategy's benefits here.
VSC ending, we're going green. Maintain positive delta until the green flags.
Alright, well, bad timing for the VSC to end there for us. See if we can't crack on ahead, catch Racer in front of us. It's been real tough so far this race to get any kind of rhythm going. Everything just going. Jeez, come on, people. Rejoin the track safely.
The track is clear. Green flag.
It's not rocket science. Alright, what's the gap? We've got
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now
3.5, the
enabled.
Racer in front of us, and we've got Loki right behind us. He's going to be in DRS range of us, so we're going to have to watch out for that. I'm not going to defend too hard a lot of the positions early on. It gets a late stage of the race and it's becoming, a matter of the positions actually holding, then I'll start really kind of pushing and defending. But right now, gonna kind of run the race, see what I can do. Gotta turn the energy down. We're burning a little bit too much of it off. So like, we'll probably be in trouble down this straight from Voki, maybe. Depends on his exit. Man, what an absolute cluster of a start. Safety car for 3 laps, and then immediately the next lap through VSC. Oh, that was a terrible exit there. He's got great slipstream on us. We're just going to go let him go down the inside. He's probably going to have DRS too, so we're just going to go ahead and tuck into the slipstream and let him pull us along for a little bit. Okay, no DRS, but we're just going to pull him along. Oh, he's so slow on the exit there. That really made me check up. I mean, if it was on purpose, fair play to him. That's a smart move. Otherwise, I would have had a huge run on him down into turn 4. Voki's typically been faster in practices and stuff, so I know his overall pace is pretty good. I think he just had some kind of error in qualifying that put him down the order. Nice and easy. I need a result here. I've been really struggling so far this season to really turn in good results, so need a result. Right now we're sitting P6. Got MJ Povey coming up behind us, who has been, we've had some pretty good scraps with him in practice races. He's definitely a little quicker than me, I think, overall pace-wise. But he's been a good fight most of the time. Looks like we're going to fall just outside of the 1 second range to Voki in front here. We're not going to have DRS this time through. Really, man, I really wish I had had them.
Our gap to the car in front is 2.3 seconds.
Yep, I wish I had paid attention and taken that extra fuel out, because that's really harming us in the cornering zones. Not being able to like chuck the car in quite as much. Its extra weight is a big problem. I have to turn the mix down for a second in a minute. Once I get an opportunity to, that is. This is not a section of the track where you're going to be making a lot of adjustments to your fuel and mixes. All right, there we go. So the benefit to us with the VSCs and safety cars is that we can push a little harder. We don't have to conserve as much around the track. We can definitely. I was considering having to turn the rear diff down, which would cost us a little bit of acceleration speed in a straight line, but would gain us a little bit of extra tire life, which is important on the one-stop strategy here. But since we had those safety car and VSC laps, we should be able to just not worry about the tire wear and just kind of push on until we hit our pit window. But so far, P6 at the moment. It's not a bad spot to be.
Car ahead is a second a lap faster than you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I think we cooled the engine a bit so we can turn it back up. Well, I was a little early on the brake zone there. Boomtech setting fastest lap after fast lap. He must be on the softs after his spin, just trying to charge his way back up through the field, where everybody else is kind of on a little bit more of a tire save strategy around this track. But now Povey is behind us with some pace. He's going to have DRS. We're about 36% tire wear, so not bad. Let's see if we can force him to sit in some dirty air for a second here. But he is almost certainly going to have a really good shot at mugging us off on the next main straight. So let's turn everything up. Oh yeah, he's definitely close enough. Let's go ahead and...
The gap to the car ahead is 8.3 seconds.
Alright, now he's got a good run on us. This one we won't fight too hard. Alright, I said I wasn't going to fight it too hard, but sure. If he's going to go wide, I'll fight him.
Careful on the tyres. Our data is showing some wear. Most likely you'll be able to feel it.
Got to be a little bit more careful on the throttle now as we're starting to get the tires wearing out. Teeny bit of a lockup, but kept it pretty clean through there. Keep it nice and cool, nice and cool. Here we go.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the hards.
And that time he's got me. Alright. We'll just use his slipstream. We'll cool the engine down. And there we go. See if we can stay with him a little bit, utilize some DRS from time to time. We got DRS here, that's going to be good. We stay with him to really get the big benefit down the final straight. Catching a little bit of dirty air coming through there, plus the tire wear. Alright, we're going to catch a little bit of slipstream chasing him down here, but we're definitely not going to have... We'll have DRS. But I think we're going to be just a little too far back to actually make an attack at him. He's going to move to break slipstream on us, but that's fine. We'll just take it on, turn the engine down a little bit. See if we can work with him, try and make some ground up here. I think he's on a two-stopper, so that's the other reason he kind of caught us up, was he was on much fresher tires. We've been on tires since the start. But if we can hang here, we can actually recharge our electrical energy behind him without having to spend too much effort pushing on too difficult and too hard. Yeah, if we can just sit in the DRS range, we'll be able to keep our lap times up on the one stop here. And GP racer. The Ferrari is off behind.
Okay, clear.
Might be close. I think we're outside. Yeah, we're outside the 1 second now, but we got a good bit of tow for a couple of laps there.
Pit window open. Let's box this lap.
Okay, let's turn the engine down, save some of the, turn the heat down a bit. Got 16 laps left to go in this race. Right now we're running
You're
P4.
increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 per lap. Plus 1 lap of extra fuel. Fuel target plus 1.
Thanks, Jeff. So we'll come out 11th after our pit stop, but I think pretty much everybody else will have to make another stop in front of us. So I'm considering staying out one more lap on these mediums. What's the wear? How worn are they? 54? No, they'll cliff the next lap. Once you're over the 50% mark, is you start to get significant losses in your lap time.
Remember, box this lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach, and make sure you don't
70s
speed.
are like dead. So yeah, let's go ahead and grab our fresh boots now. Be nice and safe coming into the pit lane. Not the most aggressive entry we've ever had. But we're good and chill coming in. Looks like one of the Renaults is out in front of us. Racer
Go.
out in front. Looks like one of the Racing Points is in as well. There's Boom Tech going by. There's our teammate AWD. And he's going to have another stop because he stopped early.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. Green flag.
Oh boy. Oh boy. That was scary. Second. Come on. Okay, so Fast 6 is ghosted at the moment. Come on, rear tires, get up to temperature. Getting a lot of oversteer at the moment as the rear tires start to find their grip. Let's try and burn some of this extra fuel off again. Okay, so Fast 6 is actually for position, but he's got connection problems. That's why he's ghosted. Okay. Looks like somebody's coming off again. Alright, that's 2 track limits warnings for us. So we're going to have to be careful the rest of the way. We don't want to pick up that 3-second penalty because it's looking like there's going to be some battles for position for us. It's not going to be like some of these other races where we've been able to dive in late and grab a fresh set of softs and go for fastest lap. Alright, so there's turbo in. Not gonna quite be close enough, I don't think. Luckily, with Fast 6 being ghosted, we don't have to worry about changing our lines to get by him. You can just go right through his ghost. Now, obviously, since this is a mixed league as far as players go, of different paces, different skill levels, It's also mixed in terms of assists, so I obviously play with no assists on. Hence why you hear me complaining about wheel spin and trying to manage that out of slow corners, having to short shift to keep the traction down. But some of the other guys that are getting a real benefit around this track are running some assists. So traction control is a big help around the track here, because there's so many just mid to low speed traction zones
by 25.9 seconds.
that it's just really good to be able to get on the throttle and not worry. Like this section here is a good like 4 or 5 seconds of traction where you really have to be like on the money, or else you're gonna get wheel spin. Same out of here. You can watch my throttle trace in the bottom right corner on how I have to kind of like wait before I can get the throttle down. That's gone a little deep there, a little bit of understeer, and then coming up the hill, lots of wheel spin potential there. So this track really, I'd say it's worth almost a good second to somebody running traction control. Because they can just sit right up on you. Squiffs has been a contender for a race winner around here, so we're going to try and not hold him up too much. We're just going to stay on the racing line, and we'll let him through.
Advice moving to mix 2. Fuel to mix 2.
Alright, so we'll turn it back to standard now. We've burned it down to about only an extra half lap of fuel. And through some of my testing, I found that running a full lap and rich mix will burn about 0.27 of a lap. So if I want to put in some push laps later on in the race, turning everything up, I've got about 2 laps worth to sit on that. Make sure we're clear of Toby before we slide over. Let injuries over. Oh, that's going to cost me so much time. Oh, come on, MJ.
Increase ERS deployment. It's time to use some of this charge.
You boned me, MJ. You boned me, Povey. I tried to be nice and let you through, and you were slow on exit. I tried. That cost me an extra position, unfortunately, it looks like. Although, I guess we're just going to kind of hope for NGP to make another mistake. We made one earlier, but luckily, even with all the contact we've had bumping into us, see it, you go a little bit wide on that, and you just, that bump you see coming through turn 4, it's just like launches you. Like, I'd like to be able to brake late and try and take like almost like a karting line, like around the outside on that corner sometimes. But as soon as you're like a millimeter deep, you hit this like ramp, and you just bump your way across the field. I mean, there's plenty of tarmac to live out there. Like, I wasn't going to go off track, but it definitely cost me big on time. Let's turn the engine up just a little bit. If they can start squabbling in front of me, that would be great, because then that'll let me catch up. Ooh, I had to change my line there for a second. I was about to have a corner cut. Looks like K3 is coming up behind
Dropping a
us.
second a lap to the car behind. 1 second.
Yes, Povey and Racer, keep scrapping like that. Just keep fighting. Oh, understeer, understeer, understeer. That's the only problem with this setup is when the car starts understeering, you're kind of caught by it. We're gonna let. I think we're gonna let K3. We're gonna fight K3. Still 10 laps left to go. He's gonna get by us eventually, but he's got to earn it. I will say the one thing when you do have. Oh, focus. Okay. When you do have traction control off, and you absolutely hook up a corner, it feels great. It just feels amazing to absolutely hook up the traction out of the corner. You can really open up a little bit of a gap when you do that. All right, he's going to have slipstream and DRS next time by. It's not going to be worth too aggressive of a fight on him, and he's bringing Boom Tech through with him. So I'm probably about to lose 2 positions here. Come on, give me some fucking space on the inside of the track. Oh my god. I'm so sorry, Boom.
Tyre condition. They should last a while yet, so don't worry about them.
When he gets to the main straight, I'll send him I'll send him a message after the race. I'm so sorry, Boom Tech. That was my bad. I was totally out of the throttle coming through. I was trying to let you by. That's an area of the track that you're on throttle.
Gap to car in front is 3.5 seconds.
Alright, so we've got 8 laps left to go. Nick is on a faster tire than me. What's the gap going to be? Five seconds. So if we can manage to 5.5, so we need to keep up. We need to stay more than a second a lap faster. Or, I mean, less than a second a lap slower than he is. Put it that way. How much life? We're at 24%, so we're in good push life. So we can really kind of lean on the tires at this point. They really haven't had any performance drop off. The only reason we're, 3/10 down on our previous best is because, well, they're a hard time. All right, so let's turn everything up. Let's go for a push lap.
You're in the top 10 now. Keep it up.
Okay, K3's pitting and Swift's. Okay. We got blue flag. Okay, so we might be solidly in some position here. So really the important thing we need to do with our push laps is keep Nick outside of a second of us. If he gets within that DRS, then we're in a little bit of trouble. It's 5.1, so he's gained a half a second over the last lap. Turn back down, chill our car out for a second. If the engine temperature gets too high, you actually start losing performance. Marco on fastest lap there, nicely done. Usually who I scrap with for fastest lap, but for now I'm actually in a position to have a semi-decent result in the actual race. Oh, Boomtech taking it into the 30s. There we go. I think about lap 26 we'll go for one final kind of push lap. And then we'll just kind of see what happens.
Okay, gap ahead is 7.6 seconds.
3 second penalty, damn it!
We've been awarded a time penalty. We'll go against our finishing time at the end of the race.
Alright. So keep pushing, just keep pushing. We need to recharge the battery a little bit here. .8. Oh, that's Marco. He's gonna get by me. There's no way he doesn't catch me at the late stage. And with the 3 second penalty, I'm not going to fight Marco because that's only going to lose me time to Nick behind. Which I don't want to do. Looks like Turbo's in the pits again. So he's losing a bit more time. Looks like his race hasn't quite gone the way he wants. Alright, we're going to stay on recharge for this lap. Try and get everything built back up. There goes my teammate, laughing at him. Hey AWD, how you doing? We'll stay on low charge in the hopes that Marco catches us in a good spot. It's not going to create too much dirty air for us, but doesn't lose too much ground to Nick. Although I think Nick might be inside that 3 second mark already. In which case we're going to lose a position. I'm still gonna race hard to the finish.
Okay, clear. Our gap to the car in front is 6.2 seconds.
Alright, let's turn everything up here. We're gonna go for, it's 20 flags, so we're gonna go for a last push lap. We're gonna see if we can turn in a good lap time here, try and make up some gap to the guys behind us.
The car behind us is lapping faster than us by around 1 second per lap.
We got the brake bias slid a little bit more forward for these first couple of braking zones. Since we're braking in a straight line, we can really lean into those front tires. Now we're going to turn it down one click to 58% since we're going to have a little bit of movement through these S's. Try not to go too wide and into this hairpin. Get nice and down. Grab that short shift. Try and get up the hill with good throttle. All right, we're turning the brake balance a little bit more balanced, so we can get this nice long curvy turn. And we're going to go back to 58% because there's going to be mostly straight line brakings the rest of the way here. Get down nice tight to that apex, get on the throttle. Carry it out. Bit of a lock up there. Get nice and hard on the throttle here. Turn it all the way up to 60 now because it's going to be straight line braking. Try and take as late of an apex as possible to carry speed through there. So kind of an awkward corner right there, actually. It's like NGP might have made a little bit of a mistake. Okay, so now we got to turn down, save a little bit of fuel this lap.
Be careful, we think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
Get ourselves back into the green on lap count. And our tires are definitely going to start falling off now.
The gap to the car ahead is 3.6 seconds.
And unfortunately, Nick has been helping out, Marco's been helping out Nick because Nick's been able to sit in DRS for a while there. And has really helped him close up the gap. I think in a raw fight, I would have been able to keep that 3-second gap. But I think because of that DRS that he's getting off of Marco, he's just going to slowly reel me in. And he may not take me on track. He may not overtake me on track. But he's gonna get the position off of a penalty. So unless he has penalties too, I'm here that I'm going to probably slide down to 9th essentially. All right, we're back in the green on energy. Fuel. Let's see if we can get some energy in. Here comes Marco. We're going to just take the racing line. We're not going to hold him up at all.
I started to catch the car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop. There's only one lap of fuel remaining.
Alright, let's see, is he going to get good traction out of this zone? I'm going to lose the positions on time. on penalty, but oh yeah, that soft tire advantage got him a good run through those S's. Alright, so they're both on me now, so I'm in deep, deep doo-doo.
This is your final lap of the race.
Back end stepped out on me. Okay, I've at least got DRS off Denelson for this little straight. Marco's got a little bit of wheel spin and slide going on. You're going to be careful through this. You're not going to ruin his race. All right, cross the line P8, and yeah, we get demoted off of the 3-second penalty. But hey, it's a pretty solid race there. Alright, so the race is finished, and we'll take a look at the final results after all the penalties and everything. But we come in the points, P9, we made up a couple of places. We had some pretty good scraps throughout the way. Unfortunately, I'm sorry for BoomTech, because it was barely even any contact. I let him through, and he kind of checked up a little bit. I wasn't able to get out quick enough, and it just wasn't good news for him there. But there you go, Ferrari, Red Bull, Racing Point, all on the podium there. And we'll see what the race winners have for us at the tail end of this race here. We'll see what the final finishing times were, how close we were to losing yet another position. But I think the one stop worked out pretty well for us. Really just having Nick sit in that DRS of Denelson there really helped him reel me in pretty aggressively at the tail stages there. But some more XP here. Up to level 20 now in the drivers there. So that's great. Let's see how many other people picked up penalties, or if I was one of the only... So Squiffs picked it up behind me. K3 picked it up behind me. But Nemesis with the race win. Golly on the top there. Voki, number 3 on that Racing Point there. Racer in the Renault. Had a really good race. We had a really good scrap with him in the practice race yesterday. A one-stopper, a two-stopper. Denelson on the 3-stop strategy, so we must have really good pace throughout the whole race there. And then as we hit the bottom of the list there, we've got Chuck, Felix, Onslaught, unfortunate with that DNF, and then, BoomTech DNF, AWD, and Peabody's who DNF'd as well. But a better result for us. No big mistakes throughout this week. Finally, got to run a race to our own strategy. Just didn't quite have the pace to stay with the front groups there. But, we had some pretty good scraps throughout it. Some good racing with people. So I believe we are headed to the city circuit of Baku in Azerbaijan next. So that should be definitely an interesting one to run coming through. But yeah, so I look forward to that. Hopefully we can have another good result. That one's going to be a lot tougher, though, with all the walls, not any runoff for you to avoid mistakes. I mean, we kept it on track pretty much this whole time. I don't think we ran wide at all throughout the race, so that serves well for us. So we just kind of cut that one corner a couple of times. But I will catch you guys all next week. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you all enjoy it. And actually, I guess next week is a week off. It's now that I think about it, it's our bye week. But I think we're gonna have a mini championship, so we'll have like a little 5-lap events going on. I'll definitely record that and throw that up. So scratch the Baku thing. We're going to be doing something else. Stay tuned. It'll be definitely interesting and cool because it will be fixed setups and 5-lap races and one-shot qualifying. Should be absolute chaos. Should be fun. All right, y'all. See you later. Peace.